Hey guys, I'm Andrea, and welcome to episode 21 of Careers Are Weird. You guys make my heart absolutely explode after we finally hit the milestone episode 20 last week. I've gotten so many messages, and I love you guys and I appreciate you guys, and I'm so super excited to have actually crossed 20 episodes because that was my milestone to like keep growing this. So I'm super happy and super excited. And, before we jump into this week's episode, can I ask you guys to follow the podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcast and leave us a 5-star rating? And if you are watching on YouTube, pretty please like, comment, and subscribe. Onwards and upwards as we hit episode 21 now. So, this week, I've got a really good friend from my semester abroad at uni on the podcast. I am joined by Quentin Laporte, who's in the world of recruitment. Careers are weird, fam. You know how big a role recruitment plays in our careers and our super weird careers, especially when you want to make a transition. So I'm super excited to talk to Quentin about his industry, what a recruiter does, how we should interact with them, and ultimately, what we should do when we come in contact with a recruiter. So we're going to jump in this week. Quentin, bonjour, hello, how are you? Where are
Hi,
you?
Andrea. Thanks for the invite. I'm in Barcelona now.
Oh, amazing. How are you doing today?
Doing fine. And you?
I'm really, really good. I'm really excited to talk to you because you're in an industry that I feel like people don't realize you can be in at from our age because we went to uni together. We're
That's right.
fairly younger in our careers, and it seems like such a much older person industry. So I'm super excited to talk to you.
I'm excited too.
Okay. So I guess the first question I'd really have for you is like, what's your current job title?
Well, my current job title is actually co-founder because I just launched my new company in recruitment, of course, which name is Linko.
What's it called?
It's Linko, Linko, and it's meant to accelerate the recruitment of profiles specialized in, I don't know if you know it, but it's HRIS, Human Resources Information Systems, which are basically all the tools you need to manage your information systems related to HR. So payroll, uh, well, everything that matters with HR, basically.
Whoa. Okay, that sounds fancy. And of course, anything with AI in 2024 is you're on top of the game. Before we kind of get into your company, and congratulations on co-founding a company. That's massive.
Thanks so much.
So before we kind of get into your company, I'm guessing let's go back and let's look at your career and what's led you to co-founding this. So, what was your role prior to co-founding?
Sure. I started as an IT recruiter in 2021. So it was my first job after uni. Um, so it consists in just recruiting people who are specialized in IT. I was specialized on the web development market. So all day I was calling clients and candidates who were either web developers or project managers, or on the other side, clients who wanted them. And my job was to put them in contact. And that was my job for 3 years.
Wow. Okay. So you were a recruiter for for IT specifically on web development,
Exactly.
web development.
Yes.
So I really want to break this down for our listeners because a lot of us just think recruiter is someone who they're a magic fairy that comes into our LinkedIn DM sometimes with a job offer, but then sometimes some people have just never heard from one before. So what actually is a recruiter?
A recruiter can, there's different types of recruiter. There's a recruiter who actively looks for offers and actually offers their services. For example, if I go to LinkedIn and I see that this client is recruiting for example, a Java developer, I'm going to call this client or trying to contact him, and I'm going to try to convince him that he needs me because I'm the best recruiter. And then I'm going to call the candidates who fit better for this role. So that's what I was doing right now. And yeah, of course, sometimes you just apply for jobs and you don't have any answer, and that's another issue. we're gonna talk about later, I think. But yeah, for me, that's a recruiter.
Okay. So after you've kind of convinced the client to work with you because you're the best recruiter, when you have the job description in hand, how do you go about finding candidates? Like, what's a day in the life of your role as a recruiter when you've got a job to look for?
Sure. Well, we have a magic wand, and we we use it to find the best candidates. Of course, we have tools to do it. Um, I won't mention them all, but we use LinkedIn, of course. We use the job boards. We use our network because I just know people by heart. So that's how I meet them. And for the day of the life of a recruiter, it depends. For me, I started my days at 9 a.m., sort of. I was looking for opportunities right after I arrived at the office. So from 9 to 9:30 approximately. I was on job boards. I was connecting clients. I was just doing my mails to prepare my day. And from that, in the morning, usually it's dedicated to business development, which means calling clients who wants a special kind of profile, a kind of, for me, developer or any profile they want. And in the afternoon, depending on what you did in the morning, you try to contact candidates. But that's not how it happens all the time because I mean we work with humans, and maybe a candidate is only available at 10 in the morning, so your schedule is a bit modified, and that happens all the time. So you have to be prepared to not respect your schedule, and that's the basis of a recruiter because I think there's not one schedule which will work every time. You have to constantly change it and prioritize your time because there's so little time in the day. You have to learn how to do several things at once. Um, for example, if I'm looking actively for a candidate, I'm going to search him through my laptop, through LinkedIn. But if I only do that, I just do one task. And if beforehand I posted an advert, well, the market is working for me. People are going to apply for that job while I'm also looking for the candidate. So this is an example of just how to optimize your time to be super efficient.
Wow, that is a lot of there's like a lot of balls like being juggled because if you've got people applying whilst you're searching for people, you've just got so much to look through and organize. And how do you keep tabs? Because I assume you maybe get 100, well, more than 100 applicants per role. How do you even like organize that?
That's the tricky part of the job, and that's when people complain about recruiters because sometimes they don't get the answer they want. It's it's a lot of work. That's why I think with IA is going to be even easier because you can just launch a lot of answers at once and try to um, automate, sorry, a lot of things to make you earn time. Because if you just answer to every person that candidates to one offer, you may have, I don't know, 10 jobs you're working on right now. And if there's 100 of them every time, you can't just text everyone back the way they want. So that's why maybe um, I think with AI it's going to be better. People are going to, even if it's a no, they're going to get more answers to the way they apply.
Yeah, I get that because that is something I hear a lot from my friends who are in the market. They're just like, recruiters are ghosting me. Like, I don't know what to do because the recruiter hasn't gotten back to me. But now, the way you say it there, where you've got 10 roles you're probably searching for, and you've got a minimum 100 applicants per, that's already 1,000 people. And for the
Exactly.
most part, you probably have closer to 500 applicants per role. It makes a lot more sense, and I really hope that you are able to like figure out how to automate it more with AI because I see both sides. My friends who are just like, I've spent time applying, I want a response, and then I guess from the recruiters, there's just so little time in the
It's
day.
really busy, but
Ooh,
also
it's hard.
I'm talking about my experience because I was never talent acquisition for one company. I was always an external recruiter who helps companies to recruit their teams. So it's normal that I have a lot of jobs every time because I work for a lot of companies at the same time. But I don't know. I guess maybe a talent acquisition who recruits for one job only is going to ask you more to contact you back, of course.
Mm. Oh, okay. That's a really good distinction. I didn't really realize that you've got external recruiters and then you've got internal talent acquisition.
Yes.
That's quite cool. So, as an external recruiter, then, when let's say you've identified a short list of candidates for a client for a role, and these candidates are being set up for interviews, how did you interact with the candidate? Did you help them prep for the interviews? Did you negotiate their salaries for them? What did you do for them after? Well, this is the shortlisted people.
Yes. So of course we have to train them for the interview. Of course, so we have to call them. You have to know them by heart, actually, because as I said before, we're all humans working with humans, and we're unpredictable. There's many reasons why you wouldn't pick a job and why you would pick it. So you have to anticipate everything. Anything could happen, and anything could get on the way of your deal or the offer. So you have to know them. Yes, a lot, a lot, a lot. That's why you have to call them really regularly. And if a recruiter calls you, I don't know, every month, it's normal because he wants to know what happened and what's going to happen because a lot can happen in a month. And of course, there's the salary negotiation, and there's also a distinction between people who get a contract and people who are, for example, freelance, people who have the daily rate. I was specialized in that category of people before. So you have to negotiate the rate of the candidate. You have to negotiate the rate. You sell the work to the client, and that's where you gain your margin as a recruiter. So there's a double negotiation here. Of course, for the sake of everyone, you have to do it with the maximum of transparency. But there's still a lot of negotiation and a lot of talking to do. Um, yes, so that's pretty complicated, but super nice because there's a lot of things in this job, and I had no idea when I started it that it was so complicated, but also so cool and so rewarding when you actually manage to make a deal because there's so much going on and so many things you did beforehand. So yeah,
That's very cool. I just saw your face light up when you said it was like it's so rewarding. It it almost sounds like a sales job in a sense where you've got your lead generation and you close your
what I
deals
do is more a
for
sales job
clients.
than actually a recruitment job. I didn't say it before, but yes, it's more a sales job.
And that's cool. That's putting some clarity into an industry where I feel like a lot of us just don't know enough about. So that's very cool. And you said something there that I want to like jump into, which is before you joined recruiting, you didn't know how complicated it was and how many things there were, which leads me to ask, how did you get into recruiting? Like, did you slip and trip into recruiting, or was this your plan when you were in uni? How do you end up here?
I think it comes from what I studied, because I studied business and administration at ESEG, and then I specialized with a master in management of information systems because I knew that IT was the field where I could have most opportunities. I had actually no idea what I wanted to do in my life. I just wanted to open a maximum amount of doors so that I could just find a job. And in the end, I really like people. I like to talk to people. And if I can mix the two, IT and talking to people, there's only one job I could have done. And yeah, that's this one. And it was hard because I graduated around COVID in 2020. I just finished my internship in Paris, and I just had nothing else afterwards because it was lockdown everywhere. It was super hard. Um, and I wanted to. Everyone who knows me at that time knows that I loved South America and I wanted to go there, but it was impossible. So when the ex-talent acquisition of my first company offered me that job in Barcelona, I just said yes, of course. That's what I want to do. And I started there in January 2021.
Amazing. Look at you going from well, actually, here's the cool part. You actually kind of knew what you wanted to do and then ended up with an internship in that field and then ended up with I guess an internal referral where your ex boss kind of messaged you like, well, not your boss, but ex talent acquisition messaged you like, "Hey, we've got something else." That's great. That's your reputation speaking for you. Big ups.
Well, thanks. But yeah.
So now that you are what? You're 3.5 years into your career. You worked in this company, Barcelona, for 3 years, and there's a half a year that's unaccounted for. What have you been up to?
Actually, I quit this company last June to start Linko. And I started Linko. I started the business thing. I started calling banks, accountants, lawyers, everything you have to do to launch a company, actually. So that was my summer. And since September, we're actually doing the business part, which is the thing I like most. And yeah, that's what I've been doing.
Yeah, what inspired you to kind of branch off from corporate and actually being hired as a recruiter to going into your own what is it called? HR admin software?
What do you mean?
Your what is Linko? You said it was an HR
Human
AIS?
resources information systems.
Ah, okay. So what led you to kind of leaving corporate and thinking, you know what, I'm gonna go and make my human resource information system.
It's because I co-founded this company with an associate who is also from that company. So we sort of both left at the same time, and he was specialized in this area. So I was the web guy, and he was the HR guy. So he's teaching me everything I need to know to gain time, because it takes time to start in this industry, because you have to call everyone, you have to get known by everyone, you have to get to know everyone, and you have to build trust and confidence with your clients. And it doesn't happen like from day to another. So that helps us a lot. That his knowledge and his ability to make business. So that's why we actually try to specialize in this area. And we believe that this area is sort of a niche market, um, which is can be really profitable for a business.
Okay, so so tell us a bit more about your software. Like you mentioned at the start, you have everything in there: payroll, time management. But give us your 1 minute pitch about what is Linko.
So Linko is the best company to recruit your HRS experts. So we are specialized in HRS, and we can provide you with the best experts in. I mean, there's a lot of French things here. I don't know if I can.
Say everything in French. Mike, you know what? We're all multilingual here. Deep down, I speak French too. A long time ago, but hey.
Okay, so basically, in a project, when you try to implement a software or any tool you want for your payroll, for your talent management, for anything you want in your company, um, there's different phases. There's before the project is launched. So that's where you have to write everything you want to do. Then you have to test the things, and you have to develop them. Then you have to actually do the parameter thing. Then you have to talk with the client. You have many things to do and many experts to do that thing. We know everyone, and and we know how to provide them for you. So trust us.
That's it. I'm gonna crop that out and make it a reel, and then we just publish that and be like, "All right, guys, everybody, go use Linko."
Of course. No.
No, that's really cool, and we're young, so going out there and starting a business with your friend, with your associate, and building in a market that we're always gonna need HR and recruitment. No matter how much AI comes out, how much tech, how many jobs are automated or whatever, the reality is industries like I think finance and HR in particular are always just they're gonna be there. You're gonna be recruiting for a company at some point. I mean, there's people. As long as you got people, you've got
Of
HR.
course.
Your software is that's really, really exciting. I'm really happy for you.
Thank you.
So I'm very interested in understanding then your plans for Linko. So Linko is now founded in Spain or France, and are you operating in both France and Spain, or where are you operating?
The company is based in France, and we operate in France as well.
Okay.
because the reason
Global
is
expansion coming?
sorry,
Global expansion coming soon?
we hope so. For now, we're just two. So I'm co-founder of just a company that has two persons, so it's not that much. But the plan is to grow. The plan is to recruit experts in recruitment and people who are passionate and people who can make us reach our goals. And the goal maybe right now
So,
is to keep being specialized in HRIS because we believe that a company that's specialized in one thing knows better how to do it than other recruitment agencies that are not specialized. They can help you with this kind of profile, but they don't know all of the market. We do. So for now, we are trying to keep that statement and maybe in the future open new brands which are specialized as well in other sectors. Because there's not only HRS, there's a lot of things. There's ERP, there's AI, there's web development, there's a billion things in IT, and there's a lack of talents in today's companies. So it's harder and harder to find them, and companies don't have time, or they just want to trust external companies like us to do their recruitment.
boom. That's the pitch. They need to trust companies like you to do their recruitment. I would trust your company to if I had something
Thanks
to
so much.
recruit for, I would come to you for sure. Quentin, this is a super cool one, and one of the last questions I tend to ask people is because they're usually in a standard 9 to 5 role is life's not stagnant, roles aren't forever. What's your ideal next step? But now that you've co-founded a company, I think that's a little bit harder because there's not exactly a corporate ladder when it comes to founding a company. So, well, what do you think is next in your career?
I have no idea, and I never had an idea. I just go with the flow. For real, I don't know.
That is not true.
Um,
You had an idea. You were in uni and you knew you wanted to be in recruitment. That's more than I was in uni. I didn't know I was going to be selling fish, but look at me now. I work at Seafood Souk.
that's right. No, but I think I'm trying to live my life without much plans. I just try to, as I said before, open as many doors as I can and build new skills wherever I can to not have to make a choice. Because this thing, creating Linko, came from my experience. So it's just in the continuity. Maybe in 5 years or 10 years, Linko would have become another thing, and I would have other needs. But for now, I'm just going to focus on Linko and see what happens because I have no rush. I know things are going to come, opportunity is going to come, and there's no rush at all.
Yeah, opportunities are endless. You said something that I really want to ask you about before we go because you just said that you're just focusing on like upskilling and just developing your skills right now, which means I have to actually ask you because of my friends who are looking for jobs that are in the market. When you were a recruiter, what are some things about candidates that that made them stand out to you and would make you as a recruiter more likely to reach out to them?
Um, well, of course, right now in 2024, there's still the CV is going on. So a well-designed CV, which is clear, pretty readable, is always nice. I like when people are audacious, which means if they find you as a recruiter of this offer and they send you a message, to me it's a good sign because they are really motivated and that makes them stand out. But that's of course not always the case because you can't always know who's recruiting for the role. But if you get to know it, I think that's a good thing to do. And apart from that, um, yeah, I mean, good sense. When you call someone, you actually know when the person is motivated or not, and you have to dig the reasons why they're looking for the job. Usually, it's pretty easy.
Okay. So I'm just thinking, what I can leave the audience of Careers Are Word with in terms of if a recruiter calls you, this is how you can like stand out to them. So what you've said is make sure you've got a clear and readable, well laid out CV. Would you say picture or no picture on the CV?
I wouldn't say a thing. To me, it doesn't matter. but I know for some people it matters. So I wouldn't say anything at all for that question. I like with this picture because I can
Oh,
identify to a person, but I know some people who don't like it. So I can't say it to everyone.
okay. Okay, fair. And when you call them, I mean, what do you typically say? Hey, how are you? Tell me about yourself and why you want a job. Is that what do you usually ask them?
It depends on the reason of my call. If I call the person because I have an offer, we call them because I have this offer for you. But first, can you introduce yourself for me, especially this part of your curriculum, which is related to the offer I'm providing? Or if it's just a call to make sure everything's all right, well, it's a different thing. There's many reasons to call, which lead to different types of calls. Um, but yes, usually I ask for the for their CV, for what they're doing, for what they want to in the next job, and of course, why did they leave their previous job, which is always super interesting. Um, and yeah, what they want to do.
Okay. And last one on recruitment, just because it's so fascinating. But how do you feel when someone's CV and LinkedIn don't align?
Does this happen?
I unfortunately I know so many people who so I'm obviously obsessed with LinkedIn, which you know, but I have friends who are not as obsessed with LinkedIn, and I see them with some great CVs, and their LinkedIn looks like they're probably still in uni.
Okay, so that's it depends on the reasons why their LinkedIn is not updated or their CV is not updated. Because sometimes there's good reasons. Some people just don't like LinkedIn, and that's understandable. But these many
Okay.
things are different. Well, yes, you have to get in other reasons. If not, it's weird.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was weird. Like, if you're if you look up somebody and you don't really see like an optimized like a good LinkedIn, like, would you still reach out to them?
Of course, of
Really?
course.
Oh, I don't know. In my head, if you go to someone's LinkedIn and there's like next to nearly nothing on it, just like ignore on to the next person because this person like doesn't
No,
exist.
there's some people who just hide from LinkedIn, and there's some really good profiles. I swear.
And that is why you are a recruiter and I am not because you have the patience for that. I'm heavy on the judge you from your LinkedIn. Oh my god. Quentin, thank you so much for coming on the show and telling us about what a career in recruitment's like, the things you had to do when you were working full time in recruitment, and about launching your new company. This has been really insightful for me. So thank you for joining
Thank you
us.
so much for the invite. It was so fun.
Careers are Word fam. This is your 21st episode. Keep following the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, YouTube. Connect with Quentin on LinkedIn. I'm going to link up for his company, Linko. Give his new company a follow. Check them out, especially if you're in France. That's where his main operating area is right now. Go check it out. Show some love to his new company page. And new episodes are out every Wednesday. So until then, stay weird and stay ambitious, my friends.